Welcome to the Wannabe Balanced podcast. I'm your host, Crystal Escobar. This podcast evolved out of a little old blog I started in 2009. From my early stages of motherhood into a library of personal development topics, my journey out of Mormonism, and now weekly bite-sized episodes to spark your awareness as we integrate mind, body, and soul. And I wanted to explain a little bit why my whole journey with alcohol, okay? So I drank a little bit in high school, then with the whole church thing, which I share in all my episodes from 21 to 100. Episode 100 is where I stopped talking about all things Mormonism, my journey out of Mormonism, and my experience. And that was a whole season of my life that was a really huge turning point for me in a lot of ways. And I was so grateful that I had the podcast. It was funny because I just started the podcast not too long before I ended up leaving the church. And then the podcast became this platform where I could express everything that I was experiencing and going through. So when we left the church, I suddenly realized that, I can drink alcohol now. That's so exciting, because I always felt like it's such a sin to drink alcohol. And I wasn't even really thinking about the harmful health effects that it can have on your body. I was just so dang excited to get to drink again. It's like a teenager with getting her driver's license, getting a brand new car. It's like freedom. So I definitely overindulged in alcohol for a few years because I was so dang excited. And when you think about the whole pendulum, I like to imagine the pendulum, and people talk about this a lot when you leave a high demand religion like the Mormon, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints religion, you end up swinging to the opposite end of the spectrum for a little while. It's kind of like you're like way over here on the pendulum, extreme rules and belief system, and then you find yourself free from it one day where suddenly you're letting go of all those beliefs, but then you end up on the opposite end of the pendulum. You go swing to the other end. And yeah, that happened for a while and it was fun, part of the process. I have no regrets, but now I feel like I'm balancing out and back to the middle where it feels like I'm making the decision to not drink alcohol from a more empowering place because I'm doing it for myself, for my health, and because I choose to, not because somebody else is scaring me out of doing it. Like there was so much fear around drinking alcohol. I remember one time we were like, Sean and I were married like 5 years. We were on a date that we'd have like every single weekend. And he's like, we should just drink alcohol one time. It'd be so fun just to do it together one time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was kind of entertaining the idea for a minute. And I was like, no, I can't. I'd feel so guilty. I'd have to go talk to the bishop and have to stop taking the sacrament. And so I just, out of fear, I chose not to. And it just feels much better to choose not to drink alcohol now because I choose to, and not because I'm afraid of losing my temple recommend or afraid of disappointing God, afraid of the embarrassment for, the guilt. I'd have so much guilt that I'd feel like pretty much like I'd have to go talk to the bishop about it, and then I'd feel embarrassed, and I didn't want to go through all of that. And that's like, I was not drinking alcohol out of fear, not because I wanted to be healthier, which has always been a goal of mine to be really healthy, but I've come a long way in my health journey. And ever since my rash, I have decided to quit alcohol. And I'm not saying like forever, but I'm on a streak right now and it feels exciting. So I don't really intend on breaking the streak anytime soon because I feel like I've already built up to almost 3 months and I feel so good about it that I don't want to break my streak, but maybe I will for a special occasion. I'm thinking at least 6 months to a year without it because it feels extremely empowering to make this decision on my own and feel like, yeah, if I could quit those things that I loved for a while, I could quit anything.